Hi folks, Coach Jeff here. Wanted to talk to you about basic beginning pickleball. Are you taking lessons? Everybody should take lessons. If you're not taking lessons, I'm going to give you 4 tips that you should do. If you can do these 4 things, you can be successful at playing pickleball. If you are going to take lessons, which I hope you will off a certified instructor, you should hear these 4 tips because these are the things that you need to do to be good at basic pickleball. And if you stick around afterwards, I'm going to give you some bonus information about how you stay safe and how you stay healthy when you play pickleball. Also, if you like our content, please hit subscribe down there. We come out with new videos. We'll come out with 2 or 3 videos a month, and they're all based on beginner and intermediate content. So hope you'll like that. Okay, folks, tip number 1, I want to talk to you about before you go to the lesson, what should you expect? One thing I would not do, I would not go to Amazon and buy a 2 for $20 paddle. I would not go to Walmart. I would not go to TJ Maxx and get the Tommy Bahama paddles. I teach probably 150 to 200 beginners a year in clinics, and they show up with all these paddles that are plastic. You cannot get good feel off these things. We try to teach touch. We try to teach feel when you're dinking, when you're hitting. They are hollow. They're made of wood. Some of them are made of aluminum. They're just junk paddles. So don't go out and buy a paddle before you've had a chance to try and demo some other paddles. So check with your instructor, check with the venue, make sure, but I'll lay you money, they'll have some paddles you can use that'll be a better quality for you. Okay, tip number 2. We want to keep our knees bent at all times. Not sometimes, not most of the time, all times. So we want to keep a good wide base, and we want to keep our knees always bent. The other thing we want to do is we want to keep our body weight forward. So we want our weight out on the tips of our toes, maybe 65% of the time. So we want them out here like this. So why is that important? Well, if we're standing straight up like this, look where our paddle hangs. It hangs at our side. But if we keep our weight forward, our shoulders are past our knees, our paddle hangs in front, and then all we have to do is bring it up here just above where the net is. And this is a great position to be in when you're playing. Knees bent, weight forward. It's an aggressive athletic position. That's the way we want it. Let me turn sideways for you and show you what it looks like sideways. So we're standing straight up. We bend our knees down. We bring our shoulders forward, out over our toes. Our paddle hangs down here. We bring our paddle up just above there, and we want to keep the tip of our paddle high. Tip number 3. Okay, we want to use big muscles. I see a lot of my beginning students, they're swatting it with their arms, they're using their elbows, they're using their wrists, they're flicking like this. We don't want to do any of that. Pickleball is a game of big muscles. We want to use our calves, our thighs. We want to use our core. We want to use our shoulder muscles, our chest muscles. That's the way we are going to get much more consistent. So when we're dinking like this, we want to keep, we already talked about keeping our knees bent, our weight a little bit forward. We're out here like this, and our paddle is going to stay out in front of us like this. If you think of a clock, and this is 12 o'clock, we want to hit everything at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or 11 o'clock. And as long as we keep it in front of us and we're using our legs to generate power, we're keeping our arms straight, we're not bending our elbow, we're keeping our wrist in a lock position, either backhand or forehand, we're going to be much more effective. So make sure you're using big muscles at all times, no swatting, no flicking with your wrist. Tip number 4, always push the ball towards your target. So if we're dinking, all we're going to be doing is putting our paddle down. We're going to be setting our paddle angle to where we want to go, and then we want to push it towards that. We want to continue our paddle. Some people have said, hit through the ball. I don't like that phrase. I want to say, have your paddle chase the ball. So if I'm hitting the ball and I hit it here, I want that paddle to continue on that same line for at least a foot, foot and a half, because every time you have the ball on the paddle, there is a thing called dwell time. So it's going to stay on the face of the paddle. And what I see from a lot of beginners is they'll hit the ball like this, but then their wrist or their elbow will bend, and all of a sudden the ball gets popped up. So that's not what we want. We want the ball to stay low, right over top of the net. So when we do this, we're going to do set it and forget it. We're going to set our paddle. We're going to try to beat the ball to the place where it's going to bounce. We're going to have our paddle waiting for it, and we're going to push it towards that target, and we're going to continue that paddle right towards that target for at least a foot after we hit it. If you can do those things, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have a leg up on your competition. So make sure we do those basic things. And if you can do that, you're going to be pretty good at pickleball, I think. Okay, folks, your bonus tip for the day. So here's what we need to do. We need to have 3 things happen if you're going to be playing pickleball long term. First of all, most people show up for the first lesson and have running shoes on. So running shoes are made for running or walking. They're cushioning, they're nice high, and they're nice and cushy. That's great for walking, that's great for running, that's not great for court wear. So what happens is just stability, and the cushioning is the front and back. The problem is when we're playing pickleball, we're doing a lot of lateral movement. So we need the stability to be on the sides. That's what court shoes give you. And they keep your foot lower to the court so you don't get much a chance to roll an ankle. I've done that before. It's painful. So don't roll an ankle. If you're going to do this long term, invest in a pair of court shoes. They're not that expensive, but you'll be happy you did. Second tip, eyewear. I naturally wear glasses. These are polycarbonate frames. A lot of beginners don't have control over their paddle, and a lot of you who are going to be playing beginners do not have good hand speed. So a lot of times they're going to go to hit the ball up, it's going to hit you in the face. It can happen. And I don't want it to hit you in the eye. If it hits you in the cheek or something, it's a wiffle ball. It's not going to hurt that much. But boy, if it hits you in the eye, you can have an issue. There's been lots of people who've had to get eye surgery because they're hitting you in the face. So I would suggest you get some type of polycarbonate, or even getting the glasses that even don't have anything inside them so you can see straight through them, but something that's going to protect your eyes. Okay, the last tip I want to give you is on lobs. A lot of times people will hit the ball over your head. And for my beginning students, I see them backpedaling like this. That is an invitation to get hurt. A lot of people will lose their balance, land, and break their tailbone. They'll put their hands out, break one or both wrists. So we don't want you to do that. So if anybody lobs it over your head and it's seriously over your head where you just can't take a step back, always turn and run like this so that you can get back here. That's the safest way to do it. Short steps and turn and run. Hopefully that helps.
If you'd like to see more tips for all levels of play, please like and subscribe.